Good morning and welcome to NBC. If you've just joined us, you are watching the live broadcast of the life and times of the late founding father of Namibia, the late President Sam Nujoma, who died, we were informed, by President Angula yesterday here in Windhoek. Throughout the day, we'll be bringing you interviews, people who knew him, people who interacted with him, colleagues, friends, comrades in arms. And in the studio, we have just that one person who did know him on a personal level, who also worked with him as a comrade and a friend, and as a close confidant. Helmuth Angula is in the studio with us. He was the SWAPO representative to Cuba, as well as to the United Nations in New York. When he returned to Namibia at independence, he was then made Deputy Minister of Fisheries before becoming Minister of Finance, and then he took up the agriculture portfolio before going to the National Planning Commission, and then Minister of Works and Transport. In the studio with us is Helmuth Angula. Good evening, good morning, sir, welcome.
Good morning.
Yes, a very sad day for the entire nation. What do you make of this news at this point in time?
Yes, thank you very much. A sad moment indeed. Let me correct myself. I gave you wrong information. My first portfolio was Deputy Minister of Mines and Energy.
I see.
And Fisheries, I was a full minister. So I supplied you wrong with that kind of information. Yes, indeed, it's a sad day for the nation. In particular, sad day for the Nujoma family. On my own behalf, my family, we extend our deepest condolences to Mekuru Kovambo and her children and closest family, to Honorable Tony and his siblings and grandchildren. Yes, we lost a comrade, founding father of the Namibian nation, leader of the Namibian revolution, who led us through thick and thin of armed liberation struggle. He was really indeed a committed freedom fighter, an internationalist, anti-imperialist, nationalist, and truly a patriot. He united us all in our common goal to defeat the colonial rules in our country. He was very knowledgeable when it comes to politics, when it comes to approach to mass mobilization. He was very knowledgeable in diplomatic spheres. He was very knowledgeable in as far as the Namibian society is concerned. He indeed taught us to be patriots, to love our country. And you know, in any moment, he will always tell you, our country is beautiful. He will rehearse and tell you about the heroes and heroines of the Namibian pre-colonial struggle, and of course, nationalism early nationalism in Namibia. He wanted everybody to get involved. He really he was not so much a partisan. He even went across to talk to all Namibians of all spheres of influence to join SWAPO in the struggle. Even though many of them might have been on the side of the enemy, he was always ready to talk to them, to convince them. He rallied the entire African continent behind SWAPO. The entire third world. And to an extent, of course, the citizens of the imperialist countries, North America and Europe. He was known throughout the world. Sometimes, most of people, Namibia being a small country, a lot of people in the world did not know where Namibia is. Even before it became Namibia, when we talk of Southwest Africa, it's a direction. It's not something you can figure out where this Southwest Africa is, because where is that Southwest Africa? But many of them, when you say, I'm from Southwest Africa, they will say, Semnyoma, Semnyoma. And I recall in Angola and sometimes in the Caribbean, when I had to go to the population, to the residents, mobilizing them. And yeah, some of them, they know the name and they really didn't know the face of Semnyoma. So they just take it, if you say you are Namibian, and say, oh, Semnyoma, corporate Semnyoma. I say, no, it's not Semnyoma. I just represent Semnyoma as a representative here. Say, yeah. So he was a mobilizer at all levels. That's why at the end of, or before, or during the struggle, the entire world recognized SWAPO as the soul and really authentic representative of the Namibian people is because of his message to the international community.
Mr. Angula, he was president for 15 years, and much of those 15 years you served under him. What would you say is his legacy?
His legacy, and unfortunately, I see the country is not following his legacy to the full extent necessary. Hard-working. Semnyoma was a hard-working individual. Every morning at 5 he's already wake up, calling his ministers, calling his colleagues in the party. Comrade, what are you doing? You know what happened? This happened, and this is bad. And we must do this. He was ever ready, even in the most difficult circumstances. He will go and attend to the problem. Of course, he's a self-teaching or learner or trained individual, but he knows all kind of aspect of life. He will talk to you about politics, but he will also talk to you about economics. And he will also talk about science. And he emphasized in those days when we were going to school, comrades, we must be serious. Without knowledge of science, we will go nowhere. We need the technology to defeat our enemy. As militants of that time, many of us really did not want to go to school. We didn't leave Namibia to go to school. All what we wanted is to
guns.
get a gun, to get training. And some of us were even so naive, so we wanted to choose where we want to be trained. And not just to leave it and say, no. Some people say, no, I want to China. I want to go to China. I want just to be trained in China. No, I want just to be trained in Korea. No, I just want to be trained in the Soviet Union. And yeah, you see, if everybody's going to be trained where you want to be trained, what kind of a fighting force will be that? So, but he will say, yeah, comrade, without technology, without science, it's difficult to defeat the enemy. You must go to school. You must study. Get the necessary technology so that we can face the enemy.
So education would have been one of his legacies?
Indeed. He was always emphasizing education. Education. Training. So all of those of us, many of us were still youngsters and who were protesting to wanting to go for military training, guerrilla warfare training. I said, no, the time will come. The time come. Don't rush. Go first. Go and study. And in fact, that's where I met him face to face first time, Moscow. Although I've been in Lusaka while, I'm not in Lusaka, Zambia per se. I finished my I went through my secondary school there. I stayed in Tanzania, where I never really had the opportunity to meet face to face until when I was studying then in Moscow. I was very far from Moscow, 500 kilometers away. So he sent for me to go and meet in Moscow. It was the really first time, and he gave me a full lecture how we must do science. This is the way we need technology. We need to defeat the enemy. And yeah, also the country will be free. We are going to have people who are educated to lead the government. That was his message. But during government, as I say, at 5, Numa was already up. Comrade Angula, did you see the sun rise today? There were clouds. You know that is the sign. It's going to rain soon. And you want to know what are you doing apart from being a minister, what are you doing? Are you farming? Are you ready to develop this country? And we all recall how he mobilized us to do voluntary work. Building railway, cleaning the place, afforestation. He was ready to use his debt, his hands, to show. Not that he was not paying attention to his official duty, being the head of state, but he wanted to show that without producing, it's where we have really to take it up. That all of us these days, we are just chasing for easy money. Very few are ready to make their hand dirty. But what he wanted is a hard-working nation, physical hard-working. Emphasize geology. You must the knowledge, you must to produce, process, and add value to our resources.
You, Mr. Angula, you worked under him in government for many years. You sat in cabinet. You were part of the inner circle, as it were. What was his leadership style?
As I say, very strong in emphasizing to his ministers to work hard, encourage them to consult with the Namibian nation. So sometimes, of course, we feel that he is not giving us enough chance to express ourselves or to talk. I said, yeah, comrade, we don't waste time just talking. We must go and work. So he put that gravel. Yeah, let's go and work. The meeting we must finish. And of course, always warning about foreign interference in African affairs, warning the country to love their country. Of course, as a nation builder, he was ready, as I said, to talk to leaders at all levels, community level, church levels. Yeah, he was a friend of all. Mm. Yeah, he was, as you know, during his time, State House was very busy. Sometimes you find the chiefs, they are there, he's meeting the chiefs, yeah, he's meeting the professionals. He goes to the industry.
So he consulted broadly.
He go to the industry. He called those who matter, economically speaking, in the production sectors. He called them. He talks about the need to produce. He will go to the vessels, fishing vessels. He will visit the mines. He will visit agricultural projects. Yeah, and at his own home level, he organized big gardens, fruit gardens, and called neighbors to come and see what they can do with the soil they have.
Yeah.
He was a man of action, very thoughtful, very full of new ideas. Always had ideas what to do next.
To go back to exile, what drove Sam Nujoma? What put him on this road and made him stick to it, passionate about the independence of Namibia? What drove him?
No, he was actually acutely aware that Namibia is a small country, very small population. And he knew we were facing a formidable enemy with allies, very formidable. So his preach to everyone is he has deep belief and understanding that it's only with solidarity. That's why he was able to, throughout those periods of liberation struggle, Africa and Asia, there are few liberation movements who were such recognized, but Sam Nujoma's movement was recognized at par level with the sovereign country, independent country. Yes, India gave us that status. Iran gave us that status. Cuba gave us that status. So, is that passionate when he preached, talked to these leaders of those countries, that convinced really the international community to say, no, this is a man who is dedicated, he must be helped. He must be helped. And sometimes when I look back, I say, really, he restrained from forming a government in exile. There are many leaders in the international community who were calling SWAPO, Somnyuma, to form a government in exile to put himself or herself at the same level as a country. He completely rejected that. Yet, in the treatment of SWAPO, many countries put us at that level. And again, I say, in those days, for example, when you're operating in Angola, it's unbelievable. A sovereign country will allow a guerrilla fighter to move in the country freely with arms. We were armed. Yeah. Whether it's from Rwanda or from Mambo, every Angola knew Camarada the SWAPO. No need to search. They say he's carrying arms. He's a freedom fighter. And we meet head of states. There's that aura of recognition as Sam Nujoma being a leader, not of the party, but of a country. Yeah, the first time I accompanied him at that higher level of him meeting head of state. When he went to meet Fidel Castro in Angola, and Fidel Castro came to Angola. I think it was also the first time. And Fidel Castro was not treating Nujoma as just a freedom fighter or a nationalist. He was treating Nujoma as an equal. It's unbelievable, because in other occasions we see when a freedom fighter is received, of course, is for protocol, is sitting there, and this head of state will sit here and listen to Nujoma. No, with Fidel Castro, they were sitting face to face across. Delegation of SWAPO that side, delegation of Nujoma. And they were talking about the agreement that we have signed and to sign for the cooperation. Now, deep down, I tell myself, what cooperation? Just talk about the baking, what you are having, what you want to give it. Say, yeah, cooperation between SWAPO and the Republic of Cuba. I say, fantastic.
Well, tell me, so what are some of the fondest memories that you have of him? Personal memories, anecdotes that you can share with us?
What I remember that comes to my mind frequently, it was not so much a moment of happiness, or how do you call it, easy moment. It happens he visited Cuba when I was representative there, and he was not on an official visit. He just came for a rest. Yeah, he needed to rest, and then I accompanied him to a resort called Varadero, and we went swimming. First we went fishing, and then we went swimming. He's a very good swimmer. I swim, but well, the old man was, at that time was already an old man, but he was a big swimmer. So as we were swimming, he was going deeper in the sea, and some Cuban officials came, and they called me on shore, come. So they talked to me, say, we have sad news for the president. And how you will communicate to him is your baby. But we were instructed by Fidel to make sure that before we go back we must be sure that he received the message. Sam Nujoma was now too deep, and I must swim back to go and tell him. And since the person came here for a visit, of course, it's natural. He doesn't want to talk about official thing. He was just to want to relaxation. So I keep going, yeah, Comrade Nujoma, President, I want us to go a bit to the beach. There is something that, yeah, we will go, Comrade, but let's swim. He was going deep as I was now getting tired. How do I tell him I can no longer swim, go that deeper? He was just, no, come, man. You don't, yeah, you know, this sea is beautiful. This water is light. Yeah, you won't sink, you just float. I say, and I can see the people on the beach, on the shore, they are anxious. They wanted the men to come out. And of course, they are very conscious that I cannot tell him when he's in the sea like that. And also, I'm consciously aware that's not the way I should tell him the bad message of the death of late Dr. Agustino Neto. That's the message they're carrying, and that's the message that I should carry on to him. Oh, I will never forget that moment. I'm getting tired of swimming. I'm trying to persuade the men to come on shore. The man is enjoying. He was challenging me to go as far as where he is. That's the moment, Nora. I really always occur in my mind what the man is, Sam Nujoma. So finally, he came out, and I said, yes, I unfortunately have to go with this sad news. He was so sad, he felt so sad, because he had been a very close and, how can I say, he considered Agustino as a reliable partner in the struggle against South African occupation of Namibia. That's the moment that always comes to my mind.
Did he cut short his visit and go back to Luanda?
Yeah, he had to go back to Luanda. Yeah.
Tell us about the relationship that he had with other liberation movements, the leaders of other liberation movements.
Yeah, he had good relationship with Oliver Tambo. He has very high
respect. Of the ANC?
Yeah, Oliver Tambo of African National Congress of South Africa. Very highly respect. And he sort of, among other liberation movement, he disliked some of them in the sense that they were so hierarchical. They were treating their people as of their chiefs. Yeah, he did not like that. I've not gathered during that time his attitude or his feeling about Robert Mugabe. That relation developed probably much closer during the period of around independence, but they also the problem also, he had reservations about the fighting among liberation movement. He really was not keen with those kind of people fighting one another when they have a common enemy.
That's right.
And this was very, some occasional among the liberation movement, fighting each other physically, not verbally.
Especially in Lusaka.
Yeah, physically. And he would say, these people, they are not civilized. How can you turn your arms against your own people, even if you are not agreeing politically, when you know the enemy is there waiting for you. Yeah, so, yeah, I had highly respect for Ole Tambo. Of course, respected Samora Machel. Those are maybe the few people I know that they are part of the liberation movement that we were in frequent contact with. Otherwise, again, the closeness with MPLA, that was at more or less active at level of other leaders, political leaders, but he respected NATO because NATO was a great thinker, and NATO does not speak out. He listened. He was not a sloganeering, and he listened. And if he agreed to something, he has that commitment. He will carry out. He will convince his colleagues in his government or in the MPLA what is to be done. Yeah, because some head of state, they make a lot of promise. Yeah, we do this, we this. After that, you know, they are represented who speak a different language.
Finally, what would you say to the Namibian nation? How should they remember the late president?
Dedicating ourselves to the unity of purpose, dedicating ourselves to hard working, we must dedicate ourselves to the love of the country, and also to international solidarity. Sam Nujoma was loved throughout the world, and therefore that diplomacy we must carry on to make sure that in this struggle against hegemonism, against those with the tendencies of wanting to rule others and to exploit others, we must join them, those who are resisting that economic, psychological oppression, particularly on the African continent, where really we have been taken for a ride. We are being pushed left and right. We have resources. And he emphasized we have resources. We must make effort to use our resources productively. We must add value to our product to sell to the international market. Not this just selling. We cannot, we don't have money, investors. But what are you doing to imitate, to copy what others are doing? So that not every day, every time you are just calling others to come and do for you, and then at the end of the day give you some leftovers. So the nation, yes, let's be united. Let's continue to work hard. Let's continue to love each other, whether it is at the level of nation, community level, whether it's intra-party, where we seems to be thriving now on hating each other for what a reason, and our goal is no longer very clear about fighting against poverty, ignorance, and all other ills, including health, developing our health status to a better level. So that was his. That's the way we can honor him, not memorizing about what he did, but dedicating ourselves to achieve what he wanted to achieve, including Vision 2030, which nobody these days is mentioning. We abandoned the vision that we have been given, and each individual coming to power is talking about his small things without well thought out idea how to practically implement that idea. We have to rededicate ourselves to achieving our set national goals of Vision 2030.
Mr. Helmuth Angula, thank you very much for your time. Thank you.
Thank you much, Nora.
And that was Mr. Helmuth Angula, who was taking us through the life and times of the late President Sam Nujoma. Over to you.